Good evening, everyone. This is Scotty Sanders coming to you. This is actually the week of Thanksgiving, and I know some of you may not see this video till months later or weeks later, but this particular time, this is Monday, the week of Thanksgiving, and I was just thinking about today, about all the things that I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for my wife, my kids, my grandkids, my health. You know, sometimes we think about the things that we even have to do in life. I was reminded about that today, about cleaning the house or decorating for Christmas. Be thankful you have a house to clean, a house to decorate. So just a perspective on things. And to me, Thanksgiving is always a time to get a better perspective. Well, tonight, this is actually episode 37 of my Lead Well series on my Facebook Lives. And so tonight I'll be talking to you about what to do when you are confronted. And this is really, to me, an excellent follow-up from my last two talks on resolving conflict. So when you are being confronted, what's the best way to handle that? So I'm going to share with you, I believe, that 5 rules that are just standard to go by that will make it much better when you're confronted, okay? So again, this is Scotty Sanders, and my purpose in life is to encourage and to empower others to live, lead, and finish well. And operating as an international leadership consultant, I'm very blessed that I get to do that, not only here in the United States, but other parts of the world. So again, the theme behind these Facebook Live is about leading yourself well. And I believe when you lead yourself well, it gives you an opportunity to lead others. So again, what do you do when you're confronted? And listen, I can sympathize here that I've been confronted before, and it's not something, man, I love it when I'm confronted. Usually it's uncomfortable. It can be a little bit painful. You wonder what's coming. But I believe there's a right way and a wrong way to deal with confrontation, because confrontation can be a very healthy thing. So let me share with you these 5 rules of when you're confronted. So here's the first one. And this is counterintuitive, but don't get defensive. See, our tendency, our fallback is to automatically get defensive. So don't defend yourself. Don't do that. So the first rule, when you're confronted, someone comes to you and they have a complaint, an issue, something they're upset with you about, mad about, or something that they feel like you've done them wrong, and they want to confront you. And when they come to you, don't get defensive. Okay? So that's your first. I'm not going to get defensive. And you almost have to tell yourself that. Just dial it back. Don't get defensive. The second one, this one's really counterintuitive. Thank the person for coming to you directly. So if someone comes to me and they're upset or they have an issue with me, I may say something like, well, Bill, first, let me just say to you, I really appreciate you coming to me personally about this. It says to me that you believe enough into me, care enough in me to want to have a conversation. So thank you for doing that. Now, what that does is a couple things. One, it in some ways, it not validates them in the sense of what they're about to share with you is right, but you've given them permission to do that. And it will to me, it will tamp down the tension a little bit. And the other thing, I think it's a good reminder to celebrate a little bit about someone, even though it was painful probably or difficult for them to come to you. Think about that. Think about when you've had to confront somebody. You dread it, you lose sleep, but you know you need to do it. And so when you validate that the process they're following of coming to you versus going to someone else. And the key thing there, they've come to you directly. Man, that's a plus. That's a win for them. It's a win for you, because think about how many times someone should have come to you, but they went to someone else and talked behind your back or shared the issue or problem, and you didn't even know about it. So thank them for coming to you directly. So that's the second principle or second rule that you should follow. And then the third one, listen. Hard for me to do this one. Listen and do not interrupt. All right? So when they come to you, don't cut them off, or you didn't let them finish what they're having to say. And then your focus needs to be on listening with your head, your ears, and your heart, and where they're coming from. Don't focus so much on what you're about to say. Focus on what they are saying. And not only the words that they're saying, but from their heart, what do they mean? Okay, so listen and do not interrupt. Number 4, if they share with something with you that is blatantly your fault and you've messed up, you need to apologize if you're wrong. Just come clean of that. Just after that, say, listen, I want you to know I sincerely apologize. And here's the thing. You've got to be sincere. You've got to be genuine. And you've got to be, genuine about meaning that you really are versus just, I want to get this person out of here. Show some remorse. Show some regret. Reassure them that will not happen again. Okay? And then a lot of times people are satisfied with that. But if you just flippantly say, well, if I offended you, then I'm sorry. No, if they came to you, you probably already offended them. So just be very sincere and asking for forgiveness, to apologize. Own it, be sincere, ask for forgiveness. And then number 5, there's a chance that you could disagree. So if you disagree, so they share an issue, something that they're upset with you about, but you really don't agree with that. You don't want to call them out in that moment and say, you're lying or you're making it up or whatever. Be careful there. Again, celebrate the fact that they came to you and didn't go to someone else. And so here's what you do from there. Thank them for coming to you and stay humble, even if what they said is off base. All right, now, I know I've done this in the past. I may have thanked somebody, but I kind of had this victory lap around them because I was like, this is so stupid, or you're so far off base. And I can come across as a little condescending. So I really try to focus. Let me stay humble in that moment, okay? Let me receive what they had to say. So say thank you for coming again. Stay humble. And the second thing you want to do there, if you disagree, take some time after you've met with them to process. And if you're a person of prayer, pray about what they've said and see what's there, okay? Because sometimes you're hit and you may be caught off guard. Take a little time, think about what they had to say, process it, okay? And then the third thing I would say is what I call the 2% rule, all right? The 2% rule is this. After you've had time to process what they had to say, I want you to find the 1 or 2 or 3 or 50% of what they said that was really truth. Because see, you may not agree with them, but there may be a nugget there that you need to own, and you own that and you work on that. I can just tell you through the years, and I've been confronted many times, that there's been times I didn't agree with it, but when I went back and processed it, I realized there was a nugget there that I need to learn from, that I came across with a certain tone, a certain attitude, or maybe my motivation wasn't as pure as I thought it should be, right? Now, the person could have been wrong or off base, but there's usually what I call 2% there that you can find, that you can work on. Man, and that 2% can be really gold for you. Okay, so those are the 5 rules that when you're confronted, all right? So just as a recap again, the first one, don't get defensive. Thank the person for coming to you directly. Third, listen and do not interrupt. Fourth, apologize if you're wrong. And then number 5, if you disagree, I've showed some steps to walk through there. Okay, now those are rules to go by that will really help you when you're confronted. And what will happen, especially if you lead people and supervise people, you want them to be able to come to you. But if you don't handle it the right way, you will shut that off. And so what's the thing you need to be concerned about? Why are these rules important when you deal with conflict and being confronted? Because here's the deal. Because people don't come to you, this is what will happen, all right? If people don't come to you, you'll miss out on this. So this is what you lose if people don't come to you. One, it will create blind spots for you. And listen, we all have blind spots. You may not think you do, but we all have blind spots. My wife points out blind spots to me often, and I'm very thankful for that. I want other people to point out blind spots. I call the landmines that you don't want to step on. You want someone to point that out to you. So when you don't receive confrontation well, if you don't follow these rules, you'll lose out and you'll miss these blind spots you have. Second, you will limit your growth. I believe when you're confronted about maybe a bad behavior, a bad decision, there's growth that can come from that because there's a lesson to be learned. But if you're never confronted about it, you won't have that growth that can happen in your life. And life is about growing, improving, and getting better. And third, it will compromise relationships. So you can say you want to be a person's friend, that you're open to feedback, but if you don't handle it the right way, it will compromise the relationships. They'll know that you really aren't that approachable. So those are the things you miss out when you don't listen to, when you don't handle conflict or confrontation well. So if you will view being confronted as a gift rather than an attack, you'll be a lot better off. I know sometimes we feel like we are attacked. Let me tell you when I feel like I'm being attacked, when I get torpedoed through somebody else. When someone that should have come to me and they go to a supervisor or complain to other people and it gets back to me. That's painful. That hurts. It says that person didn't trust me, didn't care enough. It also says to me, really, that person's motivation was really to hurt me and not help me. And here's the thing for you, when you confront someone, what you're really saying to them is, I believe in you enough and care enough to have this conversation. And I want this to be handled between us. And I don't really want to hurt you by telling other people about it. Man, when you have people that do that for you, that is a gift. Don't look at it as an attack. So out of curiosity, out of my talk, out of these 5 rules when you deal with being confronted, what helped you the most? What's your biggest takeaway? Love for you to post that. That would be very beneficial to me and probably to some others. A lot of times when people share stuff, it may be more important than something that I share in my talk. And if this talk helped you, I would appreciate you hitting the share button. Very simple to do. Hit your share button and send that out to your friends that they can get the benefit of this talk as well. Well, listen, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving week, and I will be living well, leading well. Until next time, I hope you will do the same. Take care.